Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot different. Obviously, my time at NDSU happened fast, but yeah, being in the situation that I've been in the last few years, you kind of just learn a lot about yourself, and I think that's the biggest thing that we spend time talking about is, just we know who we are, and just our family, especially with our last name. Like we talk about it a lot. Like we're a team, and we conduct ourselves in a certain way. We just remember we can only control the things that we can control, and we don't worry about the rest.
He said, well, I'm going to hear from you and I'll tell you what he said after. The relationship growing up, close, competitive, all the above, like walk me through big brother, little brother.
Yeah, we used to fight, still do, nonstop. Like I'll probably see him after the game on Sunday night and we'll argue or fight about something. I still got to establish, who the big brother is. It just keeps getting harder and harder. But yeah, I mean, there's no one I hate losing to more than my brother. It doesn't matter if it's a video game, board game, anything. It's vice versa for him for sure. So we've been real close since we grew up. So obviously we know how to get under each other's skin and everything like that. So yeah, it's been real cool to see him this year. Like I said, and just his progression and kind of getting to see some of the fruits of his labor now.
He told me the one thing you're always good for with him is giving him confidence. He says you text him, you'll talk to him, just give him that confidence that he needs. Have you always done that as the big brother? How'd you kind of get to be that, I guess, hype guy for him?
Yeah, I've always been that way. I mean, that's my little brother. There's no one I hate losing to more than him in anything, but at the same time, there's no one I want to see win more than him.
Did you know he was going to take your number 5? Did you guys talk about that? Like he said, he wants to be your younger brother. He wants everybody in Fargo to know that. Did you guys talk about that, or he just kind of do that on his own?
I kind of knew he was going to ADSU and everything like that. But I wouldn't say I was hesitant, but I know how important it is to him that he wants to be Bryce and not just Trey's little brother. So it's important to me that people know that. Obviously a lot of the guys I played with NDSU were still there when my brother got there, so they got to spend a lot of time with him as well. But yeah, I mean, I wanted him to be able to write his own story, be his own person, not just be known as Trey's little brother, and he's doing that.
What's your favorite thing about him? Good boy.
His competitiveness. It's like one of those things I love it the most. I also hate it the most when it's against me. But he's just like one of those guys, like all these guys in this locker room. Like he's one of those guys you hate going against, but you want on your team.
The last thing, I think that'd be title number 2 for him. You had 2 up there with your redshirt year. Are you a little worried he's gonna get one up by the end of his career?
He just graduated too, so he makes sure he lets me know that he's the first one to graduate in the family. So I got to deal with that too. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'd be super happy for him to be able to get 2 more rings these next 2 years. But yeah, I mean, I'm just so proud of him, the way he's handled himself through all of it. Finally getting put on full scholarship, like things like that. And obviously graduating as well. Obviously, football stuff is what we talk about, but to my family and to me, like that's really cool, really important. And I'm excited to go see him do it on Monday night.
Appreciate it, man.
Awesome, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Hey there, my fellow Chiefs fan. Let me ask you something. How lucky do you feel to have Patrick Mahomes leading our team? I mean, this guy is the definition of greatness. From jaw-dropping passes to clutch performances, Mahomes has done it all, and he's just getting started. Think about it. How many quarterbacks can you name who've completely redefined the game like he has? Whether it's his MVP seasons, Super Bowl wins, or those magical moments where he makes the impossible look easy, Mahomes is truly one of a kind. But here's the thing. As unstoppable as Mahomes is, even the best players need a strong safety net. The NFL is a tough league, and having a reliable backup quarterback can be the difference between staying competitive or seeing our season slip away if anything ever happens. So let's talk about it. What's your favorite Mahomes moment? Was it that left-handed pass, the Super Bowl comeback, or something else entirely? Drop your pick in the comments and let's relive those memories together. And speaking of safety nets, let's take a closer look at the guy who's been backing Mahomes this season, Carson Wentz. All right, let's talk about Carson Wentz, the man holding down the backup QB spot for the Chiefs this season. Now I know what you might be thinking. Wentz hasn't exactly had the smoothest ride in his NFL career. But let's give credit where it's due. This guy has a Super Bowl ring from his time with the Philadelphia Eagles, and that experience is invaluable. Wentz came to Kansas City knowing his role, and honestly, he's been solid. He's a guy who understands the pressures of being a starting quarterback in this league, and having someone like that on the sideline brings peace of mind. If heaven forbid, Mahomes ever needs a breather, Wentz could step in and keep things running smoothly, at least in the short term. But here's where things get tricky. Wentz is set to become a free agent at the end of the season. That means there's a very real possibility he might not be back in 2025. So, the question becomes, do the Chiefs stick with Wentz, or do they look for a fresh face to fill that backup role? Let's settle this together. Imagine you're the Chiefs GM. Would you re-sign Wentz for another year, or is it time to move on? Hit the comments with your vote. Keep Wentz, or find someone new. Speaking of new faces, there's one name that's been floating around as a potential backup for Mahomes next season. Let's dive into that next. Alright, so here's where things get interesting. If Carson Wentz doesn't stick around next season, who steps in as Patrick Mahomes' backup? Well, CBS Sports' Cody Benjamin has thrown out a prediction that's got people talking. Mason Rudolph. Yeah, you heard that right. Benjamin believes the Chiefs could bring in Rudolph to fill that crucial backup role. Now, if you've followed Rudolph's career, you know he spent time with the Steelers and more recently, the Titans. This season, he's been on a one-year $2.80 million deal with Tennessee, where he's played in 7 games, throwing for 1,490 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Not exactly superstar numbers, but remember, we're talking about a backup QB at 29 years old. Rudolph isn't a flashy option, but he's experienced enough to step in if needed. And let's be honest, he's not here to replace Mahomes. He's here to manage the game, avoid costly mistakes, and keep the team afloat in a pinch. So what do you think? Is Mason Rudolph a good fit for the Chiefs? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you take a chance on him, or do you think the Chiefs should aim higher? Of course, this all leads to an inevitable comparison. How does Mason Rudolph stack up against Carson Wentz? Let's break that down next. Now let's compare the two candidates, Mason Rudolph and Carson Wentz, and see who might be the better fit for the Chiefs as Mahomes' backup. First off, Wentz has the experience of being a starter, and that's something that can't be overlooked. He's played in big games, including that Super Bowl run with the Eagles. But lately, his play has been inconsistent, and while he's solid, he doesn't offer the same upside he did a few years ago. On the other hand, you've got Rudolph. He may not have the same high-profile career, but he's still a capable QB who's shown he can step in and manage a game. He's not flashy, but he can keep things steady if Mahomes is sidelined. The question is, does that fit the Chiefs' need for a backup? So Chiefs fans, here's the big question. Would you prefer the experience and Super Bowl pedigree of Wentz, or the more low-key, reliable style of Rudolph? Drop your choice in the comments, Wentz or Rudolph, and let's get the debate going. But whatever happens with the backup situation, one thing's for sure, the Chiefs are built to compete for years to come. Let's wrap things up with a look ahead. Alright, Chiefs Kingdom, we've covered a lot today. Whether it's Carson Wentz, Mason Rudolph, or another option entirely, the bottom line is that the Chiefs need a strong backup to ensure they stay in Super Bowl contention, no matter what happens. As long as Mahomes is under center, we know the team will be competitive. But having that reliable backup is key to maintaining stability when things get tough. So as we look to the future, it's all about finding the right player who can step in and keep the Chiefs' momentum rolling. Now it's your turn. Who would you want as Mahomes' backup in 2025? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of the latest Chiefs news. Catch you next time, and let's keep cheering for the best team in the NFL.